Hello, I do not know what I'm doing, but last 2 days I was working on the book reader. I just want to show it's not the game dev. I just wanted to have something to I don't know. I just wanted to have the app which would read for me books. So I made the app. So this is the books. I'm going to demo like a public domain book. So there is Alice Adventures in Wonderland, and it's open on chapter 4, and you can scroll to any chapter 5, and just start playing.
Advice from a caterpillar. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last the caterpillar took the hook out of its mouth and addressed her in a languid, sleepy voice. "Who are you?" said the caterpillar. This was not an encouraging opening for a conversation. Alice replied, rather shyly, "I hardly know, sir. Just at present, at least, I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then."
So it's open on chapter 5, and I can go to Dracula, for example, and it will open it here, and let's scroll it to chapter 2, for example, and start playing.
Less of the fact that the driver was in the act of pulling up the horses in the courtyard of a vast ruined castle, from whose tall black windows came no ray of light, and whose broken battlement showed a jagged line against the sky. Chapter 2. Jonathan Harker's journal continued. 5 May. I must have been asleep, for certainly if I had been fully awake I must have noticed the approach of such a remarkable place. In the gloom the courtyard looked of considerable size, and as several dark ways led from it under great round arches, it perhaps seemed bigger than it really is. I have not yet been able to see it by daylight.
I can go back to Alice, and it will scroll to chapter 5 where it was, so it's remembering. And also if I close it and open, it will remember the book what I'm reading and chapter, and same with Dracula. So chapter 2, and there is another feature, it's speed, so I can demonstrate. I would not talk over the text to speech, so I will just show quickly how I can change the speed of talking.
And addressed her in a languid, sleepy voice. "Who are you?" said the caterpillar. This was not an encouraging opening for a conversation. Alice replied, rather shyly, "I hardly know, sir. Just at present, at least, I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar sternly. "Explain yourself." "I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir," said Alice, "because I'm not myself, you see." "I don't see," said the caterpillar. "I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly," Alice replied, very politely, "for I can't understand it myself, to begin with, and being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing." "It isn't," said the caterpillar. "Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet," said Alice, "but when you have to turn into a chrysalis you will some day, and then after that into a butterfly, I should think you'll feel it a little queer, won't you?" "Not a bit," said the caterpillar. "Well, perhaps your feelings may be different," said Alice. "All I know is, it would feel very queer to me." "You," said the caterpillar contemptuously. "Who are you?" Which brought them back again to the beginning of the conversation. Alice felt a little irritated at the caterpillar's making such very short remarks, and she drew herself up and said, very gravely, "I think you ought to tell me who you are first." "Why?" said the caterpillar. Here was another puzzling question, and as Alice could not think of any good reason, and as the caterpillar seemed to be in a very unpleasant state of mind, she turned away. "Come," the caterpillar called after her. "I've something important to say." This sounded promising, certainly. Alice turned and came back again. "You know," said the caterpillar. "Is that all?" said Alice, swallowing down her anger as well as she could. "No," said the caterpillar. Alice thought she might as well wait, that she had nothing else to do. "And perhaps, after all, it might tell us something worth hearing." For some minutes it puffed away without speaking, but at last it unfolded its arms, took the hook out of its mouth again, and said, "So you think you're changed, do you?" "I'm afraid I am, sir," said Alice. "I can't remember things as I used, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together." "Can't remember what things?" said the caterpillar. "Well, I've tried to say, 'How doth the little busy bee?' but it all came different." Alice replied in a very melancholy voice.
This is this is the it little app to read books out loud.